Hi, welcome back to part two. And oh, what have we got here? We've got what we're talking about, moral panics and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
again, with the whole fear in a post-World War, Hitler, Cold War kind of world, we
yeah,
had McCarthyism. Hide me for 20 seconds. And the Hollywood blacklist. Now,
yes.
that was basically the start of the whole idea of the Red Scare, for example.
The Red
The
Scare.
Red Scare. Yeah, see, there you go. Better dead than red, which was the Cold War. It was that Iron Curtain that came down in 1989. That wall was built in the 60s, but the whole idea of the Cold War came out, of course, World War II. And everything that was in East Berlin and stuff like that, they were seen as communists and red. In South Africa, we were fighting the Rooi Gevaar on the Angolan border because the Russians were funding the Angola border war from the Angola side.
Yeah. I've got you.
And South Africa had like the US and the UK behind them helping. Was more like they didn't like help with the war as such. It was just about advice, Right. And our ANC members back in South Africa were during this period, they were either escaping or they were exiled out of the country, and they were going off to camps in Russian held states and Russia itself for terrorist training.
Gosh.
Okay, so to many of us in the West, this is what the Reds were, and this is what still a lot of people, very much surprisingly enough, your right wing in the USA, your Republicans back in the day, are very anti the Reds. And then you take a look at them now, it is that same Republican mindset that is saying that this is all fake news, there is no war, and Trump is still not the president. So there you go. Well, that's just what I say. But
there you have it.
But then, of course, you've got not only, and because of that, you've got people like your homosexuals, your artists, your entertainers, anybody who was seen as a social democrat. Like I said the last time, social democracy, or the term social democrat, there were parties out there in the 40s and 50s, that's who they wanted to be. And then you have the nationalists in Germany and the communists and Bolsheviks in Russia. So they said, yes, this is what we want to be as well. And then once they actually got into the whole idea of social democracy, kind of like they didn't mind socialism for their group of people. So social stuff for Russians or social stuff for Nazis.
Right.
But they didn't want to give it to on a Christian, and I put the religion in here, on a Christian level for immigrants or refugees, because that was the whole thing about Christians, is the fact is you treat those from new to your country, visitors to your country, you treat them the same as just their own people.
Exactly.
Whereas under a nationalism or a communism, they were saying, oh no, we'll only take care of our people, everybody else is foreign, second-class citizen. Yeah. And this is kind of like where this whole thing goes, politics across the world.
Absolutely. It's kind of dehumanizing, isn't it? Just seeing these like subtitles and these titles. Like, can you imagine being fired for being gay or like?
Well, you're talking about cancel culture, right? Now, Putin just recently turned around and said that there was a cancel culture against Russia, and it probably started from the fact that we were suddenly we were sanctioning Russian vodka. The LCBO here in Canada was apparently tossing out the Russian vodka.
Oh, really?
For buying in Ukrainian. I think or somebody else. If it wasn't the LCBO, it was somebody else local who was doing this, and in the States as well. And we're thinking, we're not sort of like global, but here we are. We drink Russian vodka. We do like it.
There you are.
Especially with a little bit of orange juice. But
yes, exactly.
But that's the whole idea of cancel culture. Now you take a look at those we all tried to cancel. Now, very much the right wing, and I mean, they've all got their own issues. I think one of this guy here, he's that YouTuber, and that, of course, is our Michael Jackson. these people, various people have been cancelled. I mean, Bill Cosby, yeah, granted, you know, he's committed crimes that he's literally getting away with because he made a deal to get somebody worse than him in jail.
Who's the lady in the middle with the blonde hair? Gosh, who is she?
I don't know. I think she's
James Charles, I do know, and that was very wrong.
Yeah, I'm not. This was a picture. I picked it up from the internet, so this is just a random picture. And I know they tried to cancel Michael Jackson, but there's been other recent cancellations, and they're either canceling them because they're denying the Holocaust, or they're canceling them for faking to chop off the head of the ex-president Trump. I can't remember her name. She did that and she was cancelled. And there's this constant thing about, oh, you're cancelling us. But the whole idea of cancel culture is very much a right-wing thing, very much a Republican, very nationalist. Under Nazis, they cancelled the Romani, they cancelled the Jews, they cancelled anybody who was not Aryan.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of the people that get cancelled in today's day and age, particularly influencers and YouTubers like James Charles, is because a lot of them are predators as well towards their own fan
exactly.
base,
And Bill Cosby was a predator. Michael Jackson had I'm not quite sure on the different lives that everybody had, but I know Michael Jackson had a really strange, complicated childhood. Strange and complicated childhood. I think he emotionally was stunted by that.
I think so.
Well, and I think a lot. I mean, you know, this is maybe because we don't really have enough evidence or proof, or it might have been actually harmless, but somebody else perceived it as something bad. I mean, when you're literally doping up the girls you want to bonk, that's another story. Okay. But when you just want to hang out with kids because your own childhood was so limited as a child that you only get to experience it as an adult, you want to experience it through a child's eyes. You can't, you know, you're going to hang out with kids. And if you're not got kids of your own, you know.
Well,
and he did have kids of his own, and he enjoyed looking at it through their eyes. So I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
I'm still likely to dance to Billie Jean, you know. Sorry.
Yes,
but I will not watch the Cosby Show now. So there you go.
I know. I still love Michael Jackson, though. I still love his music. I still love his humanity.
I mean, sometimes when it comes to cancel culture, it's not necessarily what we're canceling. I mean, really, what is going on with Russia is like the sanctions against South Africa. I mean, granted, I've used Coca-Cola here. Coca-Cola was one of the people who stayed. You know, it was Pepsi that left. So a bunch of South Africans out there will not drink Pepsi. Whole generation of us won't drink Pepsi because of that. And I found it hard, not for me, but for everybody else. I mean, I was still lucky enough to have a job in the 80s. But this impacted people on a industry level that I myself wasn't actually involved in. So it didn't affect me as much as it affected somebody in industry or doing this kind of stuff. And then, of course, you've got BDS against Israel and its occupation of the Palestinian land that was illegally handed over to people who were calling themselves saying we're doing this for our religion, but they weren't doing this for their religion. If this was about their religion, their own religion tells them to be nice to the people they go to, the countries, and share things. And you know, this is also a complicated, but we banned things, we stopped buying things. There's a bunch of stuff out of there that I won't buy anymore. Of course, lucky for me, there's a bunch of stuff out of there I've never bought anyway and would never have bought because it's not what I use. But at the same time, you know, me not using, I feel justified now. A little extra justification for never buying it. And it's because until they've stopped their war, they've stopped blowing up Gaza and arresting children, Palestinian children in Jerusalem and elsewhere around the region, you know, we're going to carry on with this. So it's not cancel. It's not cancel culture in the same way.
No.
So you're trying to change a political standoff, which is against the occupation or you're against apartheid.
There you go.
And this is what the sanctions are. I mean, him trying to call it cancel culture is what? other than ridiculous? Come, give me some excellent words here.
I mean, cancel culture, it's when people find things that aren't appropriate for them and they make a big song and dance about it, or, you know, there's a lot of memes on the internet, and it's like, there's like this adult and he's saying to his kid, what's the magic word to get what you want? I mean, the kid's like, I'm offended. So it's like little things like that kind of
I know.
like
I mean,
take the piss.
but you see, I think that's where satire has fallen down in social media. It doesn't carry well. It doesn't carry across the countries. British humor, unless you're really British, you don't get it. And a lot of people, I mean, you go, yeah, I suppose that really is a conversation for another time, because for some reason, I think we're coming up to 10-minute mark.
Oh, yes. No, we've been chattering.
We're chattering away here about politics and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you know, find me a spaceman. Sorry, I just found this background and I decided,
this world. I'm gonna go feel
saying that, you know, who's going to invade us, and if they do invade us, why would they want to, unless it's because they're pissed off with Elon Musk actually sending too much space junk up there, which is fair news. I could see them invading us for that, you know. But I'd rather not have an invasion. I don't want Russia to be invading Ukraine. I don't want aliens to be invading us. And yeah, so
they probably see Earth as like the ghetto. They're like, oh, I don't want to go down there. All they do is like corrupt each other and blow each other up, and that's just like a shit show. Pardon my French, but you know.
So on that shit show note, hello, and I don't know, subscribe, because we're devil's advocate. And yes, hello.
We are. Keep up the conversation, guys. As Trey said, like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be back here, well, pretty much weekly is our aim at the moment.
For a little while, see what we can get out there before we start putting up other things. But there you go. Okay. Bye, everyone, from Devil's Advocate. See you soon.
Bye.